Hey guys, sorry I've been out for a minute, haven't made a video, but I cut my finger off. So now I got my finger all wrapped up and back at work on light duty. And I wanted to talk about something. There's a bunch of videos going on around about Icon wrenches versus snap-on wrenches. Talking about the Flank Drive Plus versus the Icon type, and people testing them on nylon nuts and all kind of stuff. Torque Test Channel did a great video on it. Probably the definitive video if you ask me. I just wanted to make a video about wrenches. So I do have some Icon wrenches. I do have the Icon wrenches. Not just any set of Icon wrenches. I actually have Mr. Subaru's Icon wrenches that I won from a contest that he had on Facebook back in either 2019 or early 2020. Those are at my house. I'll show them a little bit later. But these are the wrenches that I usually use at work. And you'll see here, I've had these for going on 5 years now, if not 5 years. This is a set of Carlyle wrenches. And these have the same opened in feature with the same wrench as the Icon is. So good for reference. And you can see these are pretty well used here. The 22, 17 gets a lot of love. Everybody's always showing clean tools on YouTube. All kind of tool review channels. 12 gets love. But you got to think a little bit about what you're using a wrench for. So I'm usually using the open end on a wrench as the last possible solution. I've tried everything else. And most typically that's going to be a power tool with a socket, a ratchet with a socket, a ratcheting wrench like these Icon's version of these mountain wrenches here, which are excellent, or maybe even a gear wrench, right? Like these are older Taiwanese made gear wrench ratcheting wrenches that have gotten plenty of love. And then still, even after that, the box end. So this is being used last ditch effort. There's certain occasions where it has to be used. And when you use it, you don't want it to slip or you don't want it to mar up anything. Probably the most common thing that I end up using an open end wrench on is going to be a tie rod end, really. And on a tie rod end, if you use these, they do tend to leave marks. So generally, I will try to use, when I can, just a regular plain one. And these are a cheap Chinese-made gear wrench, and it does have a little bit of a line there, some kind of anti-slip feature. But I usually use these when I can, or on cams or something like that, like holding a camshaft with a 23 mil. I'll use those on during alignments a lot of times, because if you use these, they will mark up those tie rod ends and kind of mess them up. But that being said, I've never had one of these slip. I've never abused them. I've backed up impacts with the box end a lot, a few times with the open end. I've put the open end on stuff or the box end on stuff and had the whale on the opposite end with a dead blow hammer before. I've doubled up some wrenches. I've slipped a pipe on them here or there. But I don't really abuse them or beat on them, and they work fine. And they've had plenty of love. I mean, you can see these things are pretty well used. So it just depends on what you're using your wrench for. In my opinion, you don't need snap-on wrenches to be a professional technician. I'm a professional technician, and I use Carlyle wrenches and gear wrenches and Icon wrenches, some Baco adjustable wrenches, a few more Icon wrenches, even good old-fashioned Craftsman handle wrenches every day. I will say I don't particularly like the switches on these Icon stubbies. Also digging these super thin forged Carlyle, Capri wrenches. Those things kick butt in certain circumstances, but I only use like 2 or 3 sizes of those. So anyway, just keep that in mind. I'll patch in here, edit with another video and show kind of what my those Icon wrenches that I got from Mr. Subaru look like. Use them as well. But yeah, you guys take it easy and don't cut your finger off. It sucks. All right, as mentioned, here's the original Icon wrench set from Mr. Subaru. And we can see kind of the ones that we used a lot, especially when I was still a GM tech. Used the 13 a pretty good bit. And this 15. These are like my oil change wrenches. Yeah, so these are the first ones that Mr. Subaru got when he did a review on Icon wrenches when they had first come out. And then I won them by entering his raffle on his YouTube page. So they're here, they get a little bit of work at the house. I try to not work on cars at the house, usually just mine. But by the time I get home, the last thing I want to do is work on another car. So my projects get neglected for long periods of time. But I've got them here when I need them, exactly the same as the Carlyle ones. And I've had no issues with them. So, you know, take that for what you will.